Welcome to the Angus Conversation. I'm Mark McCully, CEO of the American Angus Association, and I am running solo today. I am missing my co-host, Miranda Ryman, dearly, as she typically is the really, really good one at this. But we miss her, but we're wrapping up a really, really busy week and of board meetings. And as we've traditionally done, after each board meeting, we pull together some board members that are able to share kind of their thoughts and feedback on the discussions we've had over the week. And I've got four guys that have joined here with me today. Start with our board chairman, Jonathan Perry.
Hi, Mark. What a wonderful week it has been to be here in my home state and host everybody. We've had a lot on the agenda. We've had a lot to take care of this week, but had a very productive week.
Absolutely. Daryl Stevenson from Montana, currently serving as the treasurer.
Mark, such a privilege to be here. Thanks for the opportunity, JP. Just can't appreciate you enough for hosting us in your home state. It's been a great week.
And John Dickinson, currently serving as AGI, Angus Genetics Incorporated president.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate being here. And as always, I like doing these podcasts to wrap up the week and get a chance to reach out about the information we went through.
Absolutely. And a new entry into the podcast. No, Danny Poss from Nebraska, first-term board member, but the first time we've been able to have you on the podcast. Welcome, Danny.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I sure appreciate you letting me do this, and it was great to be my first time in Nashville, so I appreciate you having it here.
Enjoyed having you, Danny.
Good deal. All right, well, let's get after it. We put a lot of items of discussion, the board agenda highlights that went out on the website on the 23rd of May there, and we'll try to cover a lot of these. But as you mentioned, JP, there was one topic that we spent quite a bit of time. I know members have an awful lot of interest in.
Yeah, Mark. We had a great week. We covered a lot of things. We plowed some ground for our membership. I think we touched on a lot of important topics, but one topic kind of consumed our week a little bit, and we know members have questions and need some clarity around our research project, and I hope we can clear some of those things up in this podcast. John, chairman of AGI, maybe we hand it off to you to kind of clarify some of those.
Yeah, and let's just start there. Just we're on a kind of a similar level of understanding of what AGI is, what they do. AGI is Angus Genetics Incorporated. And I know there's a lot of our members that are very familiar with the entity underneath the Angus umbrella about what they do, and it's obviously a lot of folks have referenced AGI as their genetic service provider that takes care of our genomics and genetic evaluation and a lot of things inside St. Joe, Missouri. But they're also a very extensive research arm, and they do a lot of projects out there. I think most folks have seen the work in the bovine congestive heart failure and some other similar projects. And AGI was approached by a group of beef researchers to do a really unique project. That project wrapped around the study of methane emissions, and methane emissions as that results in methane being a net energy loss and how cattle could be more efficient. Obviously, if they've got more or less methane emission, that can be some efficiency differences. And this is not new landscape that we've been involved in, even inside AGI. We've got some methane projects working with K-State and so forth, but it's a real unique research trait to do. It's also a very expensive trait to do and kind of complex. It's hard to get that information. It's hard to design the projects. An opportunity that came forward from these researchers, and that was a group from Australia in terms of AGBU, New Zealand, UK. These researchers were coming together to design a project that would be, complete from the way they collect phenotypes to the technology and equipment they use. It's really quite a large project, a vast project, and it really looked like that information could be very fruitful in terms of the phenotypes it does. Now, some may say, why AGI? And I guess we take a little bit of pride in the fact that we've got a pretty extensive team there. We have possibly some of the best researchers and geneticists in the world, And I don't know if there's anybody that can do Angus data like we can do Angus data. And that's why the attraction to AGI to get involved was a big part of this deal. We teamed up with them and helped design the project and just how it works in terms of phenotypic collection. And this project, Dr. Stephen Miller, I think, was a lead there at AGBU. He's got some AGI reference as well. And what makes this project unique is that it's studying the efficiency portion in terms of the loss side. And when you're working with methane, it's more, more visible or more exposed when you're talking about grazing efficiency and cows on grass, opposed to maybe some of the efficiency pieces we already have in house. We've got some feedlot data that measure intake compared to what the output was of that result. This is actually looking at the other side of the equation on the energy loss, which I think is pretty unique. It's pretty hard to get. I think it's pretty relative to a lot of our membership in terms of what their cows are doing from an efficiency standpoint, out on grass, out on pasture. And then when you factor in the fact that we're at the lowest cow numbers in 50 years, and we will build back up and have to be more efficient going forward, it gets pretty timely as well.
If I can just step in for a moment, John, I think it's really important to point out one side note as well, that this is strictly about efficiency and that cow and how we can make this a better cow in the industry. And this is not the first time that this has been attempted. We're by no means running behind, but there are other species in the sheep industry and the dairy industry that are actually conducting these types of research. Along with that, the studies that have been analyzed before are quite limited in scope and scale, and therefore accuracy of heritability and where we can actually go. So this was a large aspiration from the beef industry, from a collective group of beef researchers, to do this on our own narrative, and we would be directly involved with the research, the analytics, and validation. So it is literally our opportunity on a global scale, on multiple continents, to be able to describe our own cattle.
Certainly. And with that group going together, there's a research coalition established that'll house a lot of this data, these phenotypes that you can access to do the analysis, and that is the Global Methane Hub. And maybe, Mark, you could speak a little bit more about the hub and how that contract and so forth goes with that project.
Yeah, and I think you said it. I think the word coalition, I think that's how they think of that. It's, as you said, this data around methane is expensive to capture. And I guess a point, too, that you guys have continued to make, and I know is a question that we're getting on this, is this was not about, obviously in our world we think methane and in the association with climate and all the debate around climate change. This was never about any of that. As you guys always looked at this research, it was a research priority around how can we better describe feed efficiency, in particular of cows on grass. And so I guess I kind of make that point again.
Yeah. And I mean, it's obvious we don't want to get in that arena. We don't want to become environmentalists and worry about methane emissions, how it affects the atmosphere. We are not interested in entering that arena.
Not our lane.
Not our lane.
Yeah, so the Global Methane Hub, as you well put it, is really a coalition of researchers. And so, again, this research project that we were a part of was submitted to that Global Methane Hub. The Bezos Earth Fund is a funding partner, one of many, to the Global Methane Hub. And the word we got back was that they would like to consider the proposal as it was presented. And that's when we were late November, so between board meetings. And so we have an executive committee, JP, that we pulled together along with the AGI president and the foundation president, because we knew we had some questions.
Sure, Mark. To give a little clarity to that executive committee, an executive committee is established every year on the board, and their purpose is, in between board meetings when board is not in session and things arise that staff needs clarity on or needs direction on, that committee is assembled, and we hear the projects, or we hear the needs, and we make a decision on those. And y'all came to us as an executive committee with it. John?
Yeah, well, I wanted to mention, too, in regards to AGI bringing this research project to us and explaining to us the pieces of it, who's involved, and so forth, I mean, AGI is a separate entity that does dozens of projects. I mean, we're not there to micromanage and set all the different project and pieces and things they're working on. They thought with the relationship from the funding and the Global Methane Hub, they wanted to get they want to get our eyes on it and make sure this is the direction that they need to be pursuing and going forward.
Right, and John, as a committee, we had the same questions that our members are asking us. I mean, we had
totally
multiple things that we needed clarity on, multiple things that we wanted some real concrete, definite definitions of who, how, why, where, and that was what was put in front of us.
I'll step in for a moment. I from a personal standpoint, I'll just say that it was really uneasy to begin with the initial proposal. There was such a series of questions that needed to be asked. Many from the membership that are coming today, but just off the top of my head is, where's the money coming from? Who is it getting shared with? How is it getting, or who is it getting transferred to? What do we owe to who at what point? And that was just from the funding standpoint. And then to me, which might even be more important, is how do we protect, how do we gather this data? How do we analyze this data? How do we protect this data? Who is it going to be shared amongst, if anybody at all? And so there was a lot of explanation and a lot of vetting to the executive group, as well as the AGI chairperson and Angus Foundation, before we started gaining somewhat of a comfort and then confidence level that we did make a decision in consensus to then give directive to AGI to move forward, as well as with the Angus Foundation from the funding and then research standpoint. So the staff was following the directives that came out of that committee.
Yeah, once we were comfortable that the firewalls were in place and that our data was secure, and that the method that the project was going to go through was definitely not sensitive to anything that we thought might have issue. As a group, we gained a consensus, and we directed Mark and the staff to proceed with the project, see if we could get it funded.
And let me be clear, there is a distinct difference. There's no access from where it's funded by to the ability to access information. We are completely protected from that standpoint.
Yeah, in receiving a gift. And one clear piece of that too, I think, the proposal that came in from that group and that coalition of beef researchers was unedited. I mean, how they design,
Right.
if we were going to sit down and do that project tomorrow in our own house, how we designed it, how we're going to collect it, how we're going to analyze it, and how we're going to utilize it was unchanged.
Literally playing by our rules.
Sure.
And it's important to point out that not once did they ask to change our research project in any way other than maybe back the funding down, because our ask was maybe bigger than they were willing to fund on the first try. But that was
For
it,
clarity
period.
there,
It's unique and expensive information to get.
Yeah.
That original grant that went in had one more country. I think it was Brazil was in that, and they chose to step back to get the grant or the grant amount lower. I think is the one that got funded.
Certainly.
Yeah. So maybe fast forward to where we are today, and Danny, I want to bring you into this conversation. And as a new board member being elected in November, you really this week was where again knew of the direction, but some of these questions obviously that our members had been asking, we spent a lot of time kind of going back through all of that. I mean, with maybe fresh eyes. Talk about what you saw, what you felt.
Oh, I was just like any of you others. I had a lot of questions and concerns, and once I got all the information in front of me and the timeline order, I mean, I continued to build more confidence, and I'm all about cow efficiency. And when I knew that this would help cow efficiency, and we don't ever get any data on cow calf. It's hard to measure. So once I learned more about that, and the firewalls are all in place, we have control of the research, the grant was written by beef scientists, I continue to build more and more confidence.
Right. And it was clear through our process with the board. I mean, we spent a lot of time on it this week. It kind of hijacked several other things that we were working on, but it it was evident it was extremely important to our membership, and it needed to be vetted as thoroughly as possible through our board, and we spent a lot of time on it. They put a lot of facts back in front of us. We went through it as a whole board. We gained all the facts that we felt like we needed, and at the end of the day, we had a full board decision that was voted on and was unanimously supported to send our team right back into this project and carry it out.
Maybe a few other things that I know have been questions and have been talked about and feedback that we've received, and one of them I'll just address myself as staff, and that is around the communication of this. And some of our members learned about this project from someone other than us, and we work awfully hard at being incredibly transparent and sharing the work and direction of this board and what we're up to. This one had some kind of odd timing to it, the way things were kind of quiet, and then it was a go. There was multiple partners involved, and some candidly wires got crossed, and an announcement went out really without us knowing it was out. And then when we follow up with our own announcement, it just doesn't look good, right? And we get that. We own that. We apologize for that. That's not the way we want our members to learn information. And we're going to work to do better, absolutely do better in the future. And because I know that erodes trust, and we get that. I guess, guys, as you've talked to breeders and members here over the last few days, are there some other questions that you get, maybe about data privacy or access or things that you want to talk about?
Well, one thing always is protecting our data. We've worked hard to get that data, so we want to keep it in-house, and having that data against Angus cattle that are registered, I think that's very valuable too. And we'll have this data to go back onto since it's in-house, and I think it's valuable that everything worked out like it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean this is a multi-breed project, and I think it's important to be noted that we are a part of this project so that we can represent our genetics, our breeders, and our data, and have control of that data and have control of our narrative inside of that project.
And I don't think this is futuristic at all. I mean, the facts are in front of all of us that we're working on the lowest national cow herd we have in decades, and we're expected to produce more with less. And so there is a constant call from our membership perspective on the feedlot side that these cattle have got to be more efficient. We actually have members that are participating in methane research. We have had membership requests. This is a response to this. And the goal is to actually make a more productive or efficient animal. And this is going to be one of the most effective ways to actually do that. So sure. I'm very pleased and very excited to actually get to this point.
Sure, Darryl. I mean, one of the excitements to me, I mean, anything we can do to make the Angus cow more efficient.
Yes.
Anything we can do to keep her in the forefront of the industry.
That's my goal.
We have to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have to make that Angus cow more productive, more efficient, and a better animal.
Certainly. And in regards to this whole topic and this week, and Mark, I hear what you're saying as far as the way some of the information came out, and when you're dealing with, 4 or 5 different organizations on 3 different continents and different countries, and there's a lot of moving parts. This is a very big project. I mean, when you say it's a $4.85 million grant, it's a massive project, and the coordination and the efforts, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and we do apologize for that as a board member and so forth. But I really want to thank the membership that has reached out, though. Yeah. We've had a lot of phone calls, emails, texts, and so forth, and I encourage more that if you've got questions to kind of talk about other points of that. But I can assure you, just from my involvement, just to speak personally a little bit, when we got an opportunity to see how the the data was going to be kept in the methane hub, how the data is going to be kept in-house, how as far as the donor goes on the project, they've got no association with it, any results or any
The
kind
data's
of...
anonymous. I think
That's
that
true, too,
anonymous
yeah.
piece we've talked about, there's no tie to a registration number. There's no tie that anyone accessing that data could trace back to, that Daryl, it came off your ranch, or Danny, it came off yours. I know that's a question that...
And that's one question we all had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after this project is over, any of the research and the results and all that information that's afterward, that's ours to use for breed improvement or any other use if we want to implement that into a more organized efficiency trait, things like that. I think that's an important piece, and it just seemed like a win-win for what AHIR can do for our membership.
I'll actually reemphasize that, John. I would like to applaud and thank everybody that's actually reached out. I can absolutely say on the airwaves that 90% of the people that I've spoken with by phone or text have been incredibly supportive of this decision and the board's action. And they have a lot of questions, and I know that we've got a big job in front of us to better educate and build this bridge and better connection. But I'm very grateful for that support. It's helped build confidence along the way.
Yeah, Daryl, I can tell you, all of us have had calls, texts, emails, reached out to from lots of members. I've had some pretty good conversations in the last 4 or 5 days. Been on the phone quite a bit, hadn't you, Mark? It's been busy. Not everybody is 100% in support of this. No. I think there are avenues of this that have a lot of support, and there's avenues of this that have some questions. And but I will tell you that I really appreciate the outreach from the membership, and
yes.
and please don't hesitate to keep that coming if you have questions. If you have information that you want to seek out, call Mark, call myself, call one of the board members, Daryl, and I promise you, our association, if you go to our website, you go to the Angus Journal, we will continue to put every ounce of information that we know about this project, and we can drum up about this project on those channels. So the facts are there. Please go look at them. Please read through it. Please seek out that information before you make judgment.
Well, one of the things and I guess I just want to specifically touch on, because I know it's been heartburn with some members, and we mentioned it, the affiliation with a group that's obviously had investments in alternative proteins and some other things, and I think that it's the same thing that you guys questioned and talked about, and candidly, we as staff absolutely had the same reaction, and I think the as you talked about it, and some would say that the risk of being associated with that, and I think it depends on how you see that risk. The flip side is, and I want to be careful with this idea that we're going to just totally change the narrative around cows and methane in the world with this research project. Okay, that was never the intent, but I think you've had also a lot of members reach out saying, you know what, I'm kind of tired of getting my teeth kicked in with this whole environmental narrative. We know cows and the planet are a really good thing. Let's finally get some data to fight back a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I totally believe that. Cows are going to be part of the process of a sustainable planet if that's the lane you want to go in. But yeah, I would think there's some members out there that would say that they don't want to have their cattle described of what they do and what they don't do. They don't want to have some metrics or some numbers or some information where they can tell that story. And I think I want to hope folks trust the American Angus Association is providing that resource for them.
Well, quite frankly, John, my take on this is, if somebody's going to describe my genetics and my livelihood, I want to be in the picture. I want to be in the fight, and I trust our association. I trust Angus Genetics to do the work and report the data, and I don't want some outside entity representing what we do for a living every day.
And besides the fact, it's got to be tied back to the Angus population to actually have any accuracy to begin with, and so if we don't do it, it's not fitting our breeding parameters anyway. So,
and I think you guys have talked about that too. One of the priorities is making sure our members have access to data, and we know there's a lot of this. This is not the only methane research project going on in this country or this world by any stretch of the imagination. And I know you guys have talked about and we've heard some feedback around other breeders that know there's some of this data being collected out into some private hands with some places that our members are going to have to go compete against that data right here in the U.S. And
this isn't futuristic. This isn't around the corner. This is happening as we speak right now with some specific health traits that you've got to go outside of the Angus population to be able to test.
Yeah.
I guess, Danny, we probably need to, there's a lot to this topic for certain.
I will. I want to make sure I thank all the people that sent emails and helped build our confidence, and I trust. I just want to make sure all you members trust us, because I'm absolutely more confident. If you're not confident in this, you just got to do a little more educating yourself, and there's plenty of resources out there. And I guarantee you, if you spend a little time educating yourself, you'll feel better.
I mean, and if there's still disagreements, that's just fine. I don't have a problem if somebody's on the other side of this issue, as long as they understand just what we're looking at, the information is accurate, and they understand the lens we're looking through at this. But if they disagree with going that route, that's just fine.
John, I absolutely respect the people that feel differently about this. I mean, that is your prerogative, and I do respect your opinion. What I do hate is I hate the division it's creating. Mark has done a tremendous job since the day he got here of creating some unity, and we're all pulling the same wagon in the same direction, and that is what our goal is. That's what we want to do. We just, the heartburn for me is the division that we've seen over this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I heard you guys say that time and time again, and not to be dismissive of any other perspective. I mean, I say it all the time, with the membership of 22,000 people, we're going to have some very different opinions on what is right, what this association should prioritize, the decisions it should make. We have some people that have some very strong feelings on both ends of these things. And we're talking about this particular research project and who we partnered with, but we know that happens in a lot of other things we talk about. And you guys, as board members, that's what you're elected by the membership through the delegates at the convention to step in and represent them and try to bring all of those perspectives and viewpoints together. And it's not easy. This has been, I know, a hard week. It's been a really, really hard week. We're gonna continue to get information out, to work be as transparent on these things as we can, to listen, to share and answer questions as best we can. So.
And Mark, I want to commend you. I mean, what a great leader you are. I mean, I've sat here for the last few days and right beside you watched the anguish that has caused you. And I know how much you want to do right by every member in this association. And that's why you're so effective and so good at your job. And I just want to commend you for how you've managed the phone calls, how you've managed the dialogue. And I don't think that needs to go unspoken.
And I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we had a lot of other things going on this week too.
Yeah,
What happened this week?
I'm looking at this list of other things that got talked about. So, right here, first thing on the agenda was the fiscal 25 financial forecast. Daryl, as treasurer, maybe a quick report there.
Yeah, actually proud to report that we're probably in a lot better situation. The report was from April 30th. That month end, it was a very tumultuous month, as everybody's aware, with the prospect for tariffs in the marketplace being pretty radical. But we balanced out and in a very sound position. I was proud to report that.
Yeah, kind of across the board. As we always try to look at operations, right? Things we can manage. We know that investment portfolio is not something that we can manage very well. Next year was obviously the updates to the National Cattle Evaluation that came out on May 23rd.
What a nice lift without a hitch. I mean, that wasn't a small undertaking by AGI and Breed Improvement. I mean, we introduced three new EPDs. We made it through that in a pretty seamless manner. I mean, they did a really nice job. Economic assumptions were updated along with several other things, but I mean, it was pretty seamless, I think.
Yeah, well, you've got 3 new traits to utilize, and then also incorporated those into a multi-trait economic index as well. That seem to work very smoothly and so forth.
And we understand, those traits are infantile. They're just in their beginning. Do we think they're exact and absolutely, rock solid today? No, but they are directionally in the right direction, and I think utilized well and more data stacked on top of them, they'll get more and more precise as we go.
The next we had the membership survey data, and I know that was we kind of used that as a little bit. We'd been doing this membership survey data, membership survey that we started back in April, was to get some input on not only kind of customer service and communication style, but also kind of priorities of what they want us to focus on.
Yeah, number 2 was research.
Yeah.
So that built more confidence with the membership wanting more research. So that makes us feel a lot better.
Yeah. And we'll have those results out. They're things that we use. The number 1 was help them market their cattle. That was the one thing we asked for those that have taken that survey. Appreciated it. Over the next 3-5 years, where can we bring more value and relevance to your operation? And 1 was help them market their cattle, and 2 was research. So definitely fits to the objective there with AGI. We did some long-range planning. Again, there was I'll maybe just kind of roll through these. You guys kind of chime in. The proposal for this was a topic, and I know we got had a little discussion on around our AHIR data submission recognition program, and just a little more on that. That was we've it's not been a new topic of discussion. How do we recognize those breeders that are doing all the hard work to turn in the data? And I know there's some differences of opinion of what that should be. Right, but the idea that it was in the breed improvement committee that was brought forward was a kind of maybe a tiered recognition program.
In this charge for more and more maternal data, more and more hard to collect data. We've had carcass data, ultrasound. We've had weights. We've had many of those traits reported for years, and they're easy to collect. We all do it, But
easier, yeah.
They're easier to collect, obviously. But as we all want to characterize the cow better, and all want to make that mother cow better, those phenotypic traits that we're collecting are not easy to get at. And in an effort to recognize those programs that are going that extra step, going that extra mile, we heard their desire and created a recognition program that will recognize those breeders that are going above and beyond.
It's not quite finalized yet, but I do want to point out that this was a membership request.
Yes.
I mean, and they want the deserved recognition, and I greatly respect that. So I'm looking forward to how this evolves.
Yeah, and last year at the convention, it was a big concern by a lot of breeders that they turn in a lot of data. They want to be recognized, and I think this will fit that.
And just to recognize that, to qualify for that program, you've got to be in the inventory reporting system or Maternal Plus. And man, hats off to those outfits and ranches and members that are involved in that program. That's a very, I guess, heavy lift to get your information in, to get your cow herd organized. I mean, something that personally I struggle with, and so forth. And at that to go ahead and put in those number of traits to hit a level of a program, it's valuable when you can start looking at some whole cycle traits across multiple parts of your production system and so forth. I mean, I'd venture to say that those programs are valuable, and those members are valuable too for being able to get all that done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel confident that we're taking the Angus cow to the next level. We're making her maternal genetics even better and giving us more tools that we can identify the ideal females.
Just rolling down the list here. Again, you're talking about a member feedback. This addition to the sale terms and conditions was absolutely something that we've been hearing from members, that a lot more IVF females out there, and maybe some lack of clarity at times as a young heifer that's been IVF'd. Is she a donor? Is she not a donor? So that was all about adding some clarity around that particular item. I think we maybe mentioned earlier the heart health research update that came out of AGI. I know they've been working really hard on that important topic, talked about trying to accelerate it as much as possible. It's just hard. It's hard to do, right? Hard data to get at. But
to me, this is huge. I mean, it's pretty kind of personal. Customers and friends that have cattle on feed that are being affected by it, and I can't tell you how excited that I am to get to this point. I mean, it's been 4 years in the making, and it's taken a long time to have these genomically or parentally identified cattle come through with liver, heart, and lung scores to get to this point that potentially we're getting closer and closer to a research format EPD. And I strongly, anybody listening, to encourage, if you don't know much about this heart health concern, then do some research. I think this is a big trait moving forward.
Yeah, and hats off to our AGI team. I mean, just, the fact that we've got some lead-end geneticists and researchers, they've also got such a practical and applied approach to production livestock and can take the trait of interest or the issue in terms of this congestive heart failure that seemed to surface maybe more than less. I'm sure this is probably in relation to some higher carcass weights and those kind of things. But trying to separate out, the Angus genetics as far as what they can do, what they can't do, and again, design a project, go through the implementation of how a research project would work to get to the identification of the trait, and they're right on track to get that released.
Well,
and I think a lot of folks are excited about it.
And actually, I mean, I would have never considered potential correlations to, obviously, PAP EPD, but maybe even hair shed. Look at all that we're learning out of this. And as a great example to actually how we started this, I mean, it's a big collaboration. There's a lot of people, a lot of researchers involved.
Just kind of keep going down the list here. We had, this has been a continual topic. The strategies around how do we get more important data from the commercial segments, and that's we know that's a hard lift. We even talked about our existing structured sire evaluation program we do today. How do we continue to take something like that and continue to grow it, find more cooperating commercial herds to get more of that data, again, some more of the longevity data and such that that maybe sometimes isn't available in our registered herds that are turning generations and such. So just again, that's always been, I know, a topic and a discussion in our events and junior activities committee where we talked about the phenotype and genotype show, and I think did a little kind of visioning around where do we want that show to go, and I think the consensus of the board was really we want to continue to grow that. We think it's a great tool to maybe bridge the gap a little bit at times between the show ring and the production world, and so continue to find ways to grow that.
Yeah, we had some discussions about maybe even taking that into the open show realm and trying to create more awareness around both phenotype and genotype, and making that program robust and grow and expand into our membership more.
Yeah, and as the members have also asked for it, that are involved in some of those shows too. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed some show rules, and again, we always get some member feedback on different things, both ways, rules, additional rules they'd like, or maybe rules they'd like us to get rid of, and so I know the committee kind of really no decisions there, but more of an ongoing look at those and trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, we outdated some of those rules. Do we need to look at them? We're going to go back and work on our events and education committee is going to work on that over the next few months, and we come back together as a board. We're going to look at those again, and see what times might have changed, And
we talked about the World Angus Forum. Darryl, I know you're going to want to talk about that. Nothing gets you more passionate than talking about the World Angus Forum.
Couldn't be more excited. What an opportunity that was to actually travel. And I know that we have Australian visitors that listen to this podcast. I can't commend the World Angus Secretariat, but specifically Angus Australia, for the work and efforts that they did to creating such an opportunity. I'll keep this real brief, Mark. From a personal standpoint, I just want to report to the membership, as an American, you couldn't be more proud of our representation. Mark and Kelly Ritalik and John Stick all had opportunity to present not only in the World Secretariat meeting, but on the main stage. The presence of the American Angus Association was prominent, and our genetics were found in a lot of the pedigrees and that influence. But the general optimism and overall passion for the industry was exemplified by having 26 countries participating, with the exposition at Tamworth swelling to over 3,000 people in attendance. There was, I was told, close to 50 Americans that attended, and it was just an opportunity of a lifetime, actually.
Don't forget our youth team.
Oh, yeah. The second part, I'm obviously...
With a daughter on the youth team, let me
incredibly-
brag on them so it doesn't sound like you're self-serving. But you guys, I hope, listening, have seen some of the posts we've made, or they're going to have some articles. But I tell you what, we had 4 young rock stars that represented our country so incredibly well, went through a contest that was so tough and it was an endurance competition, I think, in many ways. But they did a great job and came away as the #1 team overall. So we were sure proud of them. And we're also talking about the 2029. We have agreed back many years ago to host the World Angus Forum here in the U.S. in 2029. So we're starting to
Be
put
here
some,
before you know it.
Yeah, we're starting to put some plans together for that. For sure.
Yeah, and I really think, maybe to wrap up this portion, it's critically important to actually review the World Angus evaluation and that collaboration that started a few years ago with AGI's collaboration with the Canadian Angus Association and Angus Australia to bring our databases together. And so it was kind of opened up for business about 18 months ago, and it was announced at the Secretariat at that point in time, and there's getting a real feel and now understanding opportunities for further inclusion. And I think this is critical for us moving forward. Not only put us on the same playing field when sorting data and looking for options, but it's for me been an opportunity to get all the data for us, the Angus brethren, under one roof, and it's made us just that much more powerful from a data mindset.
The World Angus evaluation was absolutely, and Kelly did just a fantastic job over there and Andre of talking about it and answering. I know they had a lot of interest and a lot of questions. As we talk here and as we put in here about the growth, we actually had the Red Angus Association of America here had actually come forward, John, with a request around the potential addition on some foot scores.
Yeah, their foot and claw evaluation, including that into the World Angus evaluation. Yeah, another great, securing a genetic service provider contract to do that work inside the World Angus evaluation, I think, is a great opportunity, and just to make that whole system more robust and more useful, and obviously, like Daryl mentioned, worldwide attention coming toward it.
Thanks for sticking with us. I know we've got a lot of stuff here on the podcast, so we'll try to be brief. But I don't want to brush over any of these things either. The Certified Angus Beef Prime, targeting the brand designation, just a little more on that one. And I know that maybe perked a couple people's ears of what that was. And some may know that the Certified Angus Beef targeting the brand, you probably recognize that shows up on some pedigrees. That decision was made years ago. It was a product of the CAB Best Practices manual that had some EPD recommendations, and where that's gone is to the point where we've had some members that have really targeted prime, and I think most know the premiums that are out there for prime, and had some customers. So it was a request that we've gotten many times of, could there ever be a Certified Angus Beef Prime targeting the brand, not necessarily something that goes on and online on the pedigree, but more of what would those EPDs be. So that's what that discussion was, and the team was going to be working on maybe what those EPDs would be, and could that be in again some of the best practices kind of literature that Certified Angus Beef promotes and talks about. But that's what that topic was about. We had some other CAB topics. Got some great research back on CAB brand deli products and some of the new products that are out there growing and again continuing to grow carcass utilization for the brand and putting that brand in front of consumers, and some more great products. They had some consumer feedback.
I think that was pretty amazing that they put the CAB brand beside some of the most notable deli meat brands in the world, and we were right there. I mean, we had consumers picking our brand and identifying with it, at the same rate that they were some of the major brands in the business.
And because I've been around just a little bit, I remember some of that early data when we didn't rank quite that high in the deli case. We were fourth, fifth, sixth down in line in the deli case, and now we're most of that data. I think we were number 2 in terms of brand awareness and brand value in deli, and so that's a fast growing area, and so pretty exciting to hear that.
Driving premiums to parts of the carcass that we haven't been able to drive premiums to before. I mean, it's just making that CAB carcass even more valuable.
And I think probably is a large part of what their sale numbers show in terms of demand for the product compared to what numbers of available carcasses and available cattle. As we're sinking back in numbers across the country, their sales numbers are up as strong as ever.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how in this tight of supply we can still grow demand.
Yeah.
For certified Angus beef,
which in the end is pull through value for our breed, for our bull battery and so forth, and for just down back on the chain.
Registered Angus bulls.
Yes.
We all know what cattle numbers are, but maybe not everyone knows that March was the best month in the history of the Certified Angus Beef brand in terms of sales.
It's pretty staggering when you think about it. I mean,
considering where we are.
Yeah, one of the tightest supplies in history. We managed
and highest priced.
Yeah, and highest prices. We see that every day. And we managed. Our team at CAB manages to hit a goal never hit before in that time frame.
But CAB continues to impress people how they keep building demand on consistency and people's satisfied eating experiences.
Yeah.
One consumer at a time. Absolutely.
It adds a lot of value to each carcass.
Yes.
The Angus Media team, the Angus Media board meeting, we had some great discussions there. All the great projects they've got going on, and I don't know how many new additions to Pasture to Publish, 12, 13 new additions maybe since we were features that we were together last. And then I know they're spending a lot of time and a lot of work looking at our costs, looking at paper, looking at postage. John, I know.
Yeah, all those prices are going up. That's no stranger to anybody there when you start talking about the inflation in postage and what paper is going to cost. And Benji presented us with a lot of challenges he's going to have as far as his team, as far as organizing those costs. What I liked to hear in the meeting was just all the options he's got coming forward in terms of adding value. He's got some bundle packages coming down the road. I mean, their digital team, and that's a little bit out of my space, but in my eyes, next level with what they can do with their reels and what they can do with their reach and posting and your social, and they can be literally a one-stop shop that's just got more options than you've had before. I mean, you talk about, we just mentioned the CAB reach we had in terms of growth. Their growth on the digital platform is just skyrocketing. I know come fall, we're working on them right now over the summer here of all your fall sales and all your fall marketings, and they've got a ton out there. So if you're a member that's got a fall event planned, I mean, there's going to be a lot of neat options going forward in that.
I think back to the survey, research was number 2. Number 1 was help marketing cattle.
Yeah.
And if you've not checked out Angus Media lately, I'd sure encourage you to do so and visit with your regional manager and the team there, because to your point, there's a lot of things in the arsenal there to pick from to build a marketing program.
And they can literally do them for you. I mean, everybody's used to the assistance they get in the catalog book production, and now there's more enhancements on the Pasture to Publish site and the printing. But on the digital side, I mean, you can just send them clips and videos and so forth, and they can construct it for you, get you a whole social platform as well.
Yeah. Well, we need to land this plane. Maybe one last topic we had on here on our list was declarations for board treasurer. This is always the meeting, and
we at this meeting every year we have our declarations for the treasurer's race, and this year we had one candidate declare. So Smitty Lamb from Georgia is our one candidate for treasurer this year. So we're excited to see him work through that process and move right on up, hopefully.
Yeah, fantastic. So, good deal. Well, guys, like I said, we probably better land this plane. I know we covered a lot of ground, and thanks for sticking with us through this. We really want this podcast always to truly be a conversation. Give you, hope you felt like you have a front row seat and right here in the boardrooms visiting with these guys of what they're thinking about, kind of all the considerations, and that's really what the purpose of this is. But we want to continue this conversation. We want to continue to listen. Again, we know we've got topics where we've got some differing thoughts and opinions. We respect those, and we want to hear them. We want to continue to be the best organization we can moving forward. And so kudos, guys, to you for a very, very productive week and covering a lot of ground. Thank you for tuning in. And we will we'll see you next time. I hope you'll stay tuned for this summer. We're going to have some special editions with some young folks as the juniors take over Angus Conversation along with Miranda. And if I don't get kicked off, I'll get to join as well. Those young folks are awfully good at this, and they make me look very amateurish. So it's going to be good. Thank you for joining, and thank you for listening to the Angus Conversation, an Angus Journal podcast.